we give you a lot of content that happens in the world of sports. A lot of things happened over the weekend with different things that happened in the world of sports, and I have got a lot to give you at this particular moment. Today is already 2nd of October and the year is 2023. There are a lot. Over the weekend, yesterday, there was a game in StarTimes Uganda Premier League between Bull FC and the team of Arua Hill Sports Club. How it went, I'll be talking about that one. And Big League continues, match day 2. And on Toparaka Football Club, actually, Western Nile Bay side, they were at home at Ababet Green Light Stadium and they were able to beat Chetume by 3 goals to 1. And the same win also happens to Yumbe Bay side, Calvary. 2 games already played in StarTimes FUFA Big League, and they have managed to pick 6 points in the 2 games they have played. And also big one coming from the Department of Rugby as women's rugby team. The squad has officially been unveiled and the tournament will be taking place in Tunisia, and Soti will be talking about the tournament and also the squad that of course has already been submitted to face different countries that are going to battle it out in the tournament. Not only that one, also over the weekend on Saturday there was one game in the CAF Confederations Cup. Our own team that's based in Uganda and the only representative in continental football, I am actually talking about the team of KCCA. They were up against Absalim of Libya, and they managed to win the game, but that win could not pave way for them to the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup because the first league they were able to lose the game into the hands of the team Absalim. The first league ended by 2 goals to 0. Meanwhile, in aggregate, though they won the game yesterday by 3 goals to 2, now in aggregate they have lost the game into the hands of the team Absalim that comes from Libya. That means they are now out of the continental football. Not the first time of continental football, but I am talking about the CAF Confederations Cup. And also one big news from the side of T20, and I remember telling you T20, when someone talks about T20, you know that the person is actually talking about cricket. There was a tournament, a World Cup going for the street side, and it was taking place in India. I can confirm to you at this moment, our kids, street sides, of course, they are the champions after beating the side that's Zimbabwe, of course, in the finals. We will be talking about that one. What about in Europe? A lot of actions happened over the weekend. In Germany Bundesliga, you talk about Italian Serie A, Spanish Primera Division, and also Paris Saint-Germain drawing with the team of Clermont. And in English Premier League, and Leicester still performed very well as far as championship is concerned. And also English Women's Super League returns over the weekend. Chelsea starting the title defense with a win over the team of Spurs. Meanwhile, Manchester United, though they were beaten in men's football by Crystal Palace, they consoled themselves coming from a goal down to beat the team of Aston Villa. Meanwhile, Arsenal, the runners-up, not the runners-up, rather the runners-up of last season, of course, was Manchester United, and Chelsea cleansing the title last season. Arsenal, of course, they were beaten by the team of Liverpool. Transfer stories always there, and I remember telling you, though the summer transfer window in Europe has already sat down, still clubs continue to be linked with the move to sign several players. And also bad news for the coach of Michael Bellick, and this guy officially has already been sacked. This guy has been sacked by the team of Rangers with only 10 months in charge of the team of Rangers. Currently, they sit 7 points behind the team of Celtic, and this comes after him losing the game into the hands of Aberdeen. Let's start with what is happening within the region, and we start with the fate of Muni University. And we continue to tell you that the University League is still ongoing, and in Group C we have in universities like Ndeze, you talk about Muni University, there is a certain Makerere University, not forgetting about Kyambogo University. And yesterday one game was played in that particular group, and it was between Makerere University and Ndeze University, and Ndeze University actually they were demolished by Makerere University. That game ended by 3 goals to 0. And now if you take a look at the table standing in that group, after Ndeze University picking the defeat into the hands of Makerere University, they are now on top of the log with 6 points, because the first game they played, they went on to beat Kyambogo University by 1 goal to 0. Second team on the log is still Muni University, a West Nile-based side. They have only played 1 game and it ended in a draw. It was up against Ndeze University. Third is Ndeze University. Despite losing the game yesterday into the hands of Makerere University, it has still kept them in the 3rd position. Meanwhile, the rock bottom university in that group group is of course Kyambogo University that will take on Makerere University, not Makerere rather, that will take on Muni University, and their game will actually be on Thursday. I want to repeat it again. Muni University will be playing Kyambogo University on Thursday, and it will be the 5th of this particular month, the month of October, and the year still remains 2023. Why am I talking about Muni? Why am I talking about that group? I want the Western Isles to know the fate of Muni University as far as sealing the qualification to the knockout stages. Leave you that one there. Let's take a look at how things also transpire in StarTimes FUFA Big League. It was a good one for the fans, the fans of Onduparaka, the technical team, and the rest of the players for the team of Onduparaka Football Club, as they managed to pick their first win of the season. Remember, this is a team that has stayed for 6 to 7 years in the top tier of Ugandan football ever since earning the promotion way back in 2016. And last season was not a good one for them, as we saw them really going to the relegation together with the team of Blacks Power. And the first game actually they played, it was last week, and they were edged by Blacks Power, a Lira-based side, by a goal to nil. So yesterday was a consolation moment for them as they beat the team of Chetume by 3 goals to 1. Meanwhile, the first game Chetume actually played, it ended in favor of them. They were able to beat Chinda Boys by 3 goals to 1. And also taking a look at the other games that did take place in StarTimes FUFA Big League, and the team of Young Elephants, they were actually away to the team of Calvary, and they lost that game by a goal to nil. They picked the defeat into the hands of the team, that's Calvary. And there was also a game between Kataka and Blacks Power. Blacks Power that beat Onduparaka Football Club, we are able to lose the game into the hands of Kataka. Kataka is a team that comes from Mbale City. The first game they played, it was actually a draw with their arch rivals. It was a derby which was played last week on Tuesday against the team of Mbale Heroes. So they picked their maximum number of points against the team of Blacks Power. That means they are now having 4 points into their name. And the game between Karo Karunzi and the team of Boma, that game of course ended in a 1-1 tie. So Onduparaka now with 3 points. Now if we take a look at how the two results went, that means things seems to be balancing for the other teams, because some of the teams that picked the win in the first game, of course this time we are seeing them drawing, others are picking defeats. That means it gives the chance for the other teams to see that the table standing keeps on balancing, because if the rest of the teams that are picked wins in match day 1, they continue to win like this, it was going to widen the points gap. That means Blacks Power picking the win in the first game, this time picking a defeat, and Onduparaka now picking a win. It keeps the balancing as far as the table standing is concerned. Leaving that one there, we need to also take a look at how things are transpiring in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League, the top tier, actually the headmaster of all the leagues we have in Uganda. And also one game was played yesterday. It was between Bull FC and the team of Onduparaka rather, Arua Hill Sports Club. On the screen, of course, is how the results went and also the upcoming fixtures in the StarTimes Uganda Premier League. We first take a look at how the games went. Remember, on Thursday, one game was actually played. It was between Bright Stars and URA. It ended in a 1-1 tie. These two sides, of course, had to share the spoil. On the same day, there was a game between Express and Busoga United. It ended in favor of the away team. Express beating Busoga by 2 goals to 0. And on Friday, games were also played. Airtel Chitara were actually away to Dasi Gaddafi. It ended by 2 goals to 1 in favor of Airtel Chitara. Meanwhile, Sports Club Villa had to end the unbeaten record of Dasi Nek FC. And this game, of course, ended by 3 goals to 0 in favor of the team Sports Club Villa. And on the same day, a game was also played between UPDF and Wakiso Giants. Wakiso Giants, actually, they had to leave Dasi Kavumbari Crescent Center, and they were away to Dasi Military Bombo Barracks to play the team of UPDF. It ended by 2 goals to 0 in favor of Wakiso Giants. And yesterday, as I said, one game was actually played between Arua Hill Sports Club. They were at Paridi Stadium, and we continue to tell you, as they still continue to do rehabilitation on their own stadium, Barfa Stadium, and they keep on playing their home games that side of Ajuman District and at the stadium of Ajuman Town Council, Paridi Stadium. and they lost 3 games already played for Arua Hill Sports Club without a win, without a draw. That's Arua Hill Sports Club for you. And you can now take a look at the table standing. On top is still a newly promoted side, Chitara, still maintaining their 100% start to the new season of the StarTimes Uganda Premier League. They are already having 9 points and goal difference of 3. Second team on the log is Bull FC. 3 games being played, winning all of them, and they are having 9 points, just like that one of Airtel Chitara. Third on the log is, of course, NEC FC. Something of around 3 games being played, and they are having 6 points, just like Viper. 6 games being played, 3 games rather being played, not 3 rather 2 games being played. They are having 6 points and positive of 3. URA, they are having 5 points. 6 on the logs, Maroons with 4 points. Down in the relegation zone is, of course, teams like you talk about teams like KCCA. They have played only 1 game and they picked the defeat. I remember they picked the defeat into the hands of the team, that's Bull FC. Number 15 is, of course, the team Gaddafi without a point also. And, of course, the last team on the log is Arua Hill Sports Club, and also playing 3 games. And out of the 3 games, they have not picked any win. That's what I can tell you as far as StarTimes Uganda Premier League games and also the table standing is concerned. Like I said, we still have got games to be played tomorrow in StarTimes Uganda Premier League. Tomorrow is, of course, 3rd of October. And the day is Tuesday with the 2 games to be played. Mbara City, of course, they will be staying at Kacheka to take on the team of Sports Club Vipers. And meanwhile, KCC, of course, will have to return to Philip Omoni Stadium, their own ground, to take on the team of Maroons. And leaving the story of StarTimes Uganda Premier League, this time we need to take our focus to what is happening in cricket. In cricket, a lot of things are happening, and I can confirm to you, and I did confirm to you actually when I was giving the highlights of the discussion. We can smile, because in T20 in cricket, our street kids, of course, they have won for us a World Cup, and this is the 2nd edition of Street Style World Cup. The first one was won by India, and it has been taken to that's India. The recent one, of course, it was the country India that hosted it. Me, I thought that they were going to defend it, and Uganda, they have become the first African country and the 2nd country to win that Street Style Cricket World Cup. That means our country is performing very well, and we have actually been discussing about cricket, whereas T20, our country is performing very well. Recently, in the men's, whereas in the senior cricket team, they were also able to clinch that regional championship, which took place in Kigali, down in Kigali, where they had countries like Tanzania, Rwanda. Last year, they were also the champions. This year, they are also the champions, and our ladies, the cricket ladies team, as I talk right now, they're also preparing for World Cup qualifiers. In case they also perform very well, we also see them performing in the Cricket World Cup. That's for the sector of ladies, which will be taking place next year. Meanwhile, for the men's team, they also very soon going to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers, and they are yet going to play friendlies to see how they are going to battle it in the World Cup qualifier. So this one has been specifically for the street children, and it has also been going very well on the side of Uganda. Uganda actually in the group stages, they won all their games. They kept a 100% record. Coming to the quarterfinals, which was played on Saturday, they were able to beat South Africa. South Africa was beaten in the quarterfinals, and in the semifinals, actually before they beat Zimbabwe in the finals, in the semifinals they beat Bangladesh. Meanwhile, in the finals, they were able to beat our own African country, that's Zimbabwe. I want to repeat it again. The 2nd edition of Street Style Cricket World Cup, first one was won by India, and second one, now it has gone into the hands of our own boys that comes from Uganda. Leaving that one there, this time we need to take our focus to what is happening in rugby, and our ladies rugby cranes, they are actually also doing preparation, and they scored officially has been unveiled. The actual our producer can display the if possible can be in person to display the names that of course have been submitted by the squad that's on. Remember, the Africa Championship will be taking place in Tunisia, and of course the countries that are going to perform very well will be representing the continent in the Olympic Games that is coming very soon in next year in 2024. And of course the country which is going to host the tournament Olympic Games is of course the country is of course called France. And a lot of sporting activities are going to take place. You talk about athletics, you talk about in fact all the sporting activities, and Uganda is making sure that at least they participate in all the sporting activities. And the ladies currently they are doing the preparation, and I want to repeat it again, the squad of course has already been unveiled and submitted. The only thing for them to do is to see that they perform very well. And the last season in African Championship they also performed very well, finishing fourth, and of course the champions we are South Africa, and Tunisia finishing second, and there was a certain Madagascar and Uganda finishing in the fourth position. And this time they have also been pitted in a dangerous group, as in group of death. In sports terms we always call it a group of death, where they have in the defending champions, that's South Africa, Uganda themselves, not forgetting about Tunisia. So it's going to be a tough one for Ugandan ladies to see that they actually go through. We are watching the space and we are waiting to see how, of course, these ladies are going to perform and whether they can be in person to make our country to sound. That's what I can tell you as far as rugby department is concerned. In sports, we take a look at different sporting activities. We don't only talk about athletics. We don't only emphasize football. Like right now, we have already talked about football. We have looked at rugby. We talked about cricket. And we are returning back to that football. As KCA over the weekend, they were knocked out of the continental football. When we talk about continental football, as any tournament that's a continental, know that we are talking about African football, and particularly we are talking about CAF Confederations Cup. I remember the team Sports Club Vipers. They had been engaging in the CAF Champions League, and I remember they were knocked out by Gianeng Galaxy, a team that comes from Botswana, and they were pitted after emerging victorious against the Sports Club Vipers. So they were pitted against Orlando Pirates of South Africa. This time we are talking about the Europa of Africa. Europa of Africa is of course called CAF Confederations Cup, where we had one representative, that's Kasasiro Boys, as Kampala City Council Authority. You can also call them Kasasiro Boys. The first leg of this game ended by 2-0. In fact, ended by 3-1. They were away to Libya to take on Absalam. So they needed to beat Absalam by 2-0 to see that they actually proceed to the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup. Unfortunately, the game ended by 3-2 in favor of our own boys, but in aggregate, it has ended by 5-4 in favor of the team, that's Absalam. This game was played on Saturday. That means this time we don't have any representative coming from the soil, coming from Uganda, competing at continental football. I want to repeat it again. Sports Club Vipers, they're already out. You talk about KCCA, they're already out. The focus turns back to the battle, turns back to the Star Times Uganda Premier League. You talk about Stanbic Uganda Cup. KCCA, their first game of the season, they were supposed to take on Express. That game was postponed because they had engagement in the first leg of the game. I've just been analyzing. So the second game they played, they lost into the hands of the team, that's Bull. It ended by 1-0. So their third fixture of the season will actually be tomorrow up against the team, that's Maroons. That's what I can tell you as far as the CAF Confederations Cup.